Well, good morning, my friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion. Hope you're having a great morning. I'm not. I just walked out to a parking ticket. I parked in a place where 95% of the time they'll never give you a ticket. And if they do give you a ticket, it's hard to fight because nobody ever responds. So I guess I'm paying a ticket. But at least I got this guy. And then we have to go to the DMV after this, which I'm not looking forward to. Honestly, I was pretty surprised today to wake up and see so many nice comments about my knots. Honestly, I was kind of surprised today to wake up and see so many nice comments about my Queen Mary Dark Harbor video because I just didn't think I got that much good footage. A lot of the stuff that I filmed that I thought was good, a lot of the people jumping out and scaring you that I filmed just didn't come out on film even when I lit it up and got it as grainy as I possibly could. I just couldn't, you still couldn't see them. So I appreciate everybody that made a nice comment. It made me feel really good because I was pretty worried that that was going to be a vlog, so thank you. Even though it was a long process taking the train down there, I did exactly what I wanted. I got a ton of ideas for vlogs as I was traveling through there, and I was thinking today, since I have to go to the DMV, what am I gonna vlog? And then I remembered there's something over there that I was faintly going to do a vlog on, and I think since I'll be in that neighborhood, I'll just go ahead and do it today. Now I believe it's a school, but it used to be a military school that Gene Wilder had some pretty bad experiences at. If this was just a story that I read somewhere like on another online platform, I think I probably wouldn't do this vlog. But this is actually a story that he tells in his book, and I have the audio book and it's actually him reading it, so it was even more powerful hearing it from his mouth. It's actually a pretty nice day out here today. It's not quite too hot and it's pretty sunny, so I think I'm just gonna walk to the DMV, get some exercise in. It's gonna be quite a trip anyway. Oh, this looks nice. They've gotten the spirit of things. I love Halloween and Christmas. Can't wait. And just a reminder, everybody, come Thanksgiving, Kenny in Palm Springs is going to have the Robo Lights display open every night for free, donations only. It's going to be animatronic, lit up, everything. I will be out there to vlog it. I will. And as for the Music Video Festival Awards, did we win? I assume not, because I didn't hear from John, but I also didn't hear from him saying we didn't or who won. So he told me he was going to go up there at like 5 p.m. Maybe they didn't make the announcement yet. Who knows? Can you read what they wrote in chalk there? I like the cracks in your disguise. I'm on my way to the DMV. See, we're walking by Hollywood Forever. I purposely took this way just so I could see this. I love this. Yikes. There we go. More. Well, there it is, and unfortunately there's a massive line. Alrighty, well, we're leaving. I made a mistake. Apparently this is only for driver's license, so I actually have to go about a mile away and walk over there to the vehicle registration office. But we're only a block away from where we're gonna vlog, so let's go do that. Well, where we're going today is actually, well, it used to be a military school for young boys. It was actually called Black Fox Military Institute. In 1946, a boy named Jerry Silverman, who would later on become Gene Wilder, was sent to go to school here by his mother. We're gonna go check out where it is, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit of the story as to why Gene was here and why he only stayed for less than a year. Now, it was actually right here on this corner. It took up a large chunk of the block. It was Black Fox Military Institute. Now it looks like it's a big housing community, like a big gated residence. But Gene Wilder was sent here because basically the story goes back to when he was 8 years old. His mother had had her first heart attack at the age of when Gene was 8, and the doctor actually pulled him aside and said, "Don't upset your mother, you'll kill her from now on." And because her heart was extremely weak. And so Gene actually thought that meant, like, if I even get mad at her, that could kill her. So he always made sure he never got upset with her for anything she ever did. But he said she had a bad habit of lashing out at him if he did anything wrong. Instead of just reprimanding him, she would like lash out. She would wash his mouth out with soap or something like that. And so he said he had shown interest in becoming an actor, but he was told by Herman Gottlieb, who was his sister's acting teacher in Wisconsin, that he wouldn't take him on until he was 13 years old. So when Gene became 13 years old, he started taking these lessons with Herman Gottlieb for a very short time. But one day when Gene was hanging out with his friends, they were teaching him cuss words, and he actually learned the F word. He came home and went to his mother and said, "What does F word mean?" And she grabbed him, ran him into the bathroom, scrubbed his mouth out with soap, and said that's what it means. And decided through a distant cousin of hers who was sending her son to the Black Fox Military Academy, which was right here, that it would be a good idea for Gene to come out here as well. Now it was said that there actually used to be a big drill field out here, and so every day right over here where this intersection is, they said that people would be lined up on the sidewalks watching the young cadets do their drill exercises. But this was actually a total horror and nightmare for Gene, because he said that his mother's cousin, who had recommended this place, her son only went part of the day here. He didn't live here, and so his experience was much different. And so Gene said that the kids that actually lived here were people who had been really bad, and their parents just kind of wanted to get rid of them, forget about them or whatever. He said it was really like a home for wayward boys. And he said for the very first day from the time that he moved in, he was basically sexually abused that first day. He said his roommate basically dry humped him, and what he found out was that the reason that he would end up getting picked on for the entire time he was here was because all the boys found out that he was Jewish, and he was the only Jewish kid here. So they would come into his room every single day and every single night, he said, and beat him up, and actually leave black and blue welts all over him. And when he finally went to one of the colonels here, that was one of the one of the superiors that the cadets would basically look to as an advisor and for help, that guy actually said, "You want those kids to quit hitting you? Hit them back. Pick up a chair, smash it over their head." And Gene said, I couldn't believe what this guy was saying. He literally said to pick up a chair and smash it over their head. And he said, well, you asked me how to get them to stop, that's how you get them to stop. So he said he secretly started writing his father letters because he couldn't tell his mom. He didn't want her to get upset. So he would write his father letters telling him about all the abuse that he was having inflicted upon him. And he said that he would even be beat up and harassed by the few Hispanic boys that went here as well, because he said that they came from wealthy families, and so in those days a piece of pink gum would cost a penny, but they would try and charge him $1, and if he wouldn't buy it they would beat him up. So he said finally, when it came time for the holidays to come around, he asked his dad if he could come home for a visit, and he had, like I said, he had been writing these letters telling his dad about all the abuse that he was taking. I don't know if he mentioned the sexual abuse, but Gene did say, I told him about all the beatings that I was taking, and finally my dad just wasn't telling my mom at all. He would just hold it in, and finally he said, yes, you can come home for the holidays. And when I was home, my mom saw me without my shirt on and started crying and asked what had happened to my body because it was all bruised and black and blue and beaten, and finally he said my dad told her what had happened to me and they decided that I didn't have to come back. But he said the whole reason that she sent him here was not because he was so much trouble, but because she was led to believe that if he came here he would actually have time, and they would work on him with vocal lessons, acting lessons. He would have time for all that stuff. And he said in reality what actually happened was that he did have an acting teacher or a piano teacher that he would work with, but it was only once a week. And he said that the guy only worked with him on one song. It was Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen. And he said that was the only song that we ever worked on. That was the only song I ever learned. And so when I went home to visit, my mom asked me to play her a song on piano, and he said I completely jumbled up the whole song, and I did that song, and she ended up crying and running out of the room. Now this all behind me would have been the Black Fox Academy, and eventually in the 70s it was closed down. Now here's a kind of a weird and fascinating little piece to this story, is that Gene Wilder said that when he made the Frisco Kid with a young Harrison Ford, he said they became close friends and started talking, and Gene somehow had mentioned, or Harrison actually mentioned, that he bought a lot of wood from this school when it closed down, and he had built some of his flooring and his furniture at his house with it. And Gene Wilder said, I realized then I could never ever go to his house because the things that he was walking on and making a home out of were my nightmares. And he said that he always had insecurities because of being here, and actually because this was 1946, the hostilities were pretty intense still towards Jewish people. He said especially here they would run into his room and say, we're invading, and he said once this place was finally gone, he for years would never even drive past here if he was in town until they completely got rid of it and built this behind me. Now let's go find the actual DMV that I'm supposed to be at to get this all done. Major bummer. I probably should have looked into that. I forgot that other one even existed, but right there was the Black Fox Military Institute. And I'm actually going to go back down over here to Melrose and Wilcox, and I'll walk basically down the sidewalk and show you where the drill field would have been. So this whole strip over here, this whole block would have been Black Fox Military Institute. And since I'm going this way, I'll actually be walking past Pink's, so we can take a look at the Pink's building. Gas station topiary. Air France sounds about good right now. The metalwork on this building looks like an eyeball. Well, I'm not stopping to get anything, but it's 12:45 and look at the line. Heck yeah, you know it's good then. I still recommend the Guadalajara dog. I was so surprised by how good that was. If you want to make it at home, it's of course a hot dog, a bun, relish, sour cream, pico de gallo, which is basically chopped up tomato and onion, and a little bit of mustard. Surprisingly good. I kind of feel like I'm doing all the walking I did in Budapest today because I'm doing more than usual, but it kind of dawned on me just now. Would have been a good day to try out those new hiking socks I bought that I didn't wear. Somebody dropped bombs right into the side of this vintage clothing store. Jet rag. And this place in front of us is actually an audition place. I've auditioned many times here and booked things here too. Ah, there it is. hopefully this won't be too bad. We'll see. Well, I got through the line in about 10 minutes, so now I'm just waiting for my number to be called. Well, I'm done. That was actually pretty quick. I was out of here and probably in and out in 15 minutes. Now I got the paperwork. All I have to do is pay it online and get the smog check. Well, it's a bummer. I had double checked to make sure that the DMV was open on Columbus Day, but I didn't check for the post office, so the post office is closed today. We'll have to mail these out another day. Now let's go home. The great Rodney Dangerfield. Well, good evening, my friends. I wanted to end this vlog by actually mentioning two things. One was that you might remember in one of the live chats I did recently, I kind of mentioned how I was able to find more inexpensive flights for when I went to Budapest. Well, I just put in Brussels, Belgium, because I'm kind of interested in doing Brussels and Bruges together, and I just put in that I was looking for a flight to there, and no real time frame or anything, and I just checked it so that I could get alerts in my email in the future, and I actually noticed there were a handful of flights next month for as low as $287 for a week. And that was the round trip price, so if you're interested in traveling, maybe next month is the month to look around. Who knows, maybe even I'll sell a few things off my wall and maybe I'll make that trip, I don't know. And two, I talked to John. We didn't win the video contest, but the video that won was called It's a Wonderful Life, and that's the one I thought should have won. When I watched it, I was like, this is really cool, and it was a lot of effects, and it kind of reminded me of Smashing Pumpkins' Tonight Tonight, which I love, so they deservedly won. We weren't the worst, and we weren't obviously the best, so that's the way it goes. Like I said yesterday, Joey Diaz quote, there's no escalator to the top, so keep working at it. Anyway, have a great night. I'll see y'all tomorrow. We have a special day because a viewer and also fellow vlogger is in Los Angeles, asked me to go vlogging with him, and we're gonna go. So tomorrow should be a fun day. I even got a pic, so this will be a fun one. Here's a hint. Cemetery. Goodbye.